Hi everyone, Julia here. Just wanted to say hello and thanks so much for all the subscribers. It's gone a bit mental. I really wasn't expecting that. Anyway, so apologies for not having posted and videoed anything for a while. Obviously COVID's got something to do with it, but it's mainly due to the fact that I've rebranded, so I'm not Pumpkin Blur Furniture Artistry anymore. I'm Julia K. Tarzi, which is actually my married name. Yeah, don't worry, no one can spell it either. And so I'm going to be specialising in antique European patinas like Gustavian, French Provincial and English Country. So they'll be coming up soon. But in the meantime, I have created a very small staging wall. And so if you want to see how I did it, then check out the video. Right, first step is, you guys have probably heard of this, but Saltwash, fabulous product, but I'm going to be using it to give the texture to my wall. I'm putting it in, don't laugh, FAUX, which is a very expensive paint here in the UK, but it's literally what I had left over from a job in the house, and it's getting on a bit and it's never going to be used again. So just use whatever kind of emulsion or latex paint, if you're American, you've got. So let's get to mixing it up. Right, so here is my emulsion. Normally with Saltwash, you use 1 part Saltwash to 1 part paint, and so in here, I don't know if you can see, I've probably got a litre and a quarter, and I'm hoping that's going to be enough. As I said, it's leftover paint. So, but what you do is you start adding it gradually. Obviously I don't need to do it too gradually because I've got a lot of paint here. So put it in. And you'll know when it's the right consistency, and I'll show you how. I've never actually used it in emulsion before, so hopefully this isn't going to go, going to go wrong. So yeah, keep stirring it. So obviously it's going to need a hell of a lot more than this, but I just want to sort of start working it in rather than having a big lump on the top of it. Kind of looks like it's snowing, doesn't it? Right. So they say, I think because they're American, it should look like kind of cake batter, but we don't really say that in the UK. So I'll kind of show you with my stirrer when it gets where I want it to be. Because I want the texture, I obviously want it to be thick so it doesn't run down the wall and so it holds its shape. As you can probably see, it's starting to get a bit thicker now, but it's still not thick enough. Nope, see, that's still too runny. So let's put more in here. Obviously, if you've got a full can and you're doing a piece of furniture or whatever, do not put it direct into the can. I'm just doing it because it's leftover paint. So decant what you want and probably start small and, you know, kind of make a note of the number of cups of Saltwash you're using. Right. I'm going to get some muscles doing this, I reckon. Okay, it's really starting to go nice and thick now, so bear with me. Just got to give it more of a stir. I've got a feeling this stick might break, which will be quite embarrassing, won't it? But hey ho. So hopefully you can see all the texture kind of coming here. So it's gone from lovely and soft and silky to porridge. Right, I really am giving it a good stir because obviously I want to make sure that I get down to the bottom because I don't want to waste any of this paint. And fingers crossed it enables me to cover this wall. Right, let me just do a test. Still think I need a little bit more. It should be dropping off slowly, but a little bit more slowly than that. It's very technical, isn't it? Right, let's give this a go. Yay, that's it. It should be slow like that so it comes off. Yeehaw, right. So now you will need a trowel or a scraper, as I've got here. I'm just using what I've got because, as you know, I don't like buying stuff that I'm probably not going to use again. So anything like that, or I think I've got a flat scraper somewhere, if you just bear with me. Anything like that. But if you've got a trowel, obviously it's going to be a bit quicker for you. So let's get on it. Right. As you saw, I've now mixed up the salt wash, so look at that in my emulsion. So I'm going to put it on the wall, as I said, with a trowel. Basically because, it's not a trowel, is it? It's like a spatula thing. So I'm going to be using this because it's what I've got. Obviously, if you've got something bigger, it's going to make it go quicker. But what we're trying to do here is build texture. So here we go. So any old how, just basically slap it on. Doesn't matter what colour you use, okay? So I'm just using this because I had it left. Because the important thing are the colours you choose after this is dry, so this will be all covered unless you want to show some of it. So the salt wash here is literally just adding texture, okay? So if you've got a big trowel, obviously it's going to be a lot quicker. Now obviously I filled in where there were screws, like here, and obviously if you're doing a job you'd actually sand those, but because I'm going for texture, I really don't care. So no right or wrong, just get it on there. And if you decide when you're putting it on it's moving a bit too much, it's a bit too thin, then just stop and put some more salt wash in it, okay? So if you've got red paint or whatever, it doesn't matter. I mean, I did think about using Sloan, but I thought for chucking it on a wall, it's, yeah, it would work out quite expensive. But anyone from the UK will look and go, oh my god, she's using Farrow wool. But that's literally, as I said, what I've got left from the house, and it's never going to be used again, so it's a good way to use it up. So as you can see, it goes on quite quickly. I can normally start from the top and come down, but I'm doing it this way so you can actually see me first sort of putting it on. Right, it's been about an hour since I put the textured emulsion, so it's textured because I put salt wash in it, on this area here. So before it's totally dry, what I'm going to do is just run through with my spatula, obviously you've got a trowel, whatever you've got. I'm literally going to just sort of drag it to create more peaks and troughs so there's more interest when the paint goes on. So if you can see there, we're getting some really, really beautiful texture, and that's exactly what I want. You can also tell, like I said, I was going to run out of the dark grey, so probably in all for most of this wall, which I've done, it was like 2.5 litres worth of paint, and actually a lot of salt wash, probably about a massive tub and a half of salt wash. There's no right or wrong with this, so literally just do whatever you fancy, and yeah, it will look fab. I created some peaks and troughs, and I thought, you know what, I actually want to have a bit of a smoother texture, but with some kind of really textured bits. So what I'm doing now, step 2, wasn't planned, this is what I'm going to do. So as you can see, I'm just dragging my spatula flat and across horizontally, and you just keep going until you're happy with it. Stage 3, so I smoothed it, and then I thought, you know what? I've got a sea sponge lying around, so I thought, let's give it a go and see what that looks like. So obviously you don't want to do it all over, but just do it in places like this. As you can see from the lovely texture behind and the fact that I'm putting my hand on it, this is really dry. Hopefully you've left it overnight. As you know, I didn't. The below is still drying, so I'm just going to focus on the section you can see here, just so we can kind of speed along a little bit. What I'm going to be using is something called colour meshing, and it's basically with either a sheepskin or, in this case, kind of a sort of furry pad that you attach to a block. I think in the States you can buy woolies. Over here they're like ridiculously expensive, but over there in the States I don't think they are, and you can get a much bigger pad, so obviously it will be quicker, but this is the one I got in the UK. I'm going to be using 3 colour paints, so all Annie Sloan, Louis Blue and French Linen, and for the highlights I'm going to be using Old White. Now you can use as many colours as you like, but I kind of make them in a similar sort of family, if you know what I mean. Like if you have red, yellow and green, you're just going to end up with a mess. So I kind of want a stony finish, but I want that little bit of blue just to lighten it for my photos. So first things first, I always spray my colour meshing tool. Some people don't, I do. No rhyme or reason, so see whether you like it. So I'm dipping in the Annie Sloan. This is French Linen, so I want to make sure I'm kind of going to the edge. Hopefully you can see that. And I'm using the same brush and dipping in each of my cans, but that's because I've only got about that much in each. If you've got new cans, don't contaminate them, so pour them into little pots or onto a plate, and you can do it that way. So I'm now dipping into the Louis Blue and just doing the same thing. This is basically just priming the colour meshing tool. And finally I am going into the Old White. Okay, so there you have it. So I'm going to put that down, obviously face up. And I'm now going to put paint on the wall. So I'm going to do a few. You want quite a lot of paint, okay? Because you need it to have the moistness still in it for you to be able to do this technique. Obviously I've created texture. You can do this without texture, and you won't have to kind of work the paint in quite so much as I'm doing here. So you don't want to work with a massive space at a time, just because it will start to dry out. Right, I'm going to the next colour now, so you can see there's no rhyme or reason as to how I'm putting this up here. And so the same brush, so don't worry about the colours mixing, that's what's going to happen anyway. Right, and last of all, the old white. I'm putting quite a bit of the old white on because I kind of want to neutralise the French linen a little bit. But we can add as we go, you'll see. So I've got my colour meshing tool that I've already primed, so it's got all three colours on it and it's a little bit damp. And then what we're doing is meshing the colours together. Now I quite like some of my dark grey coming through, but you don't have to, you can just keep working over the area. So hopefully you can see that that's all starting to blend and look really lovely. But again, don't need to use massive pressure, you can swipe it if you want. So the most exciting bit, which is this bit, literally only takes like 10 minutes. Right, I'm going to put some more paint on. So, French linen. I think I want a bit more here. I'm going to move out a little bit now with the paint. Louis blue. As I said, you can leave some of the undercolour showing through if you like it, or just cover it all up. It's totally up to you. And again, colour meshing tool. And it's always a good idea to step back and just have a look. Like, for example, there's too much blue up there, so I'd add a little bit of French linen, so let's do that. So don't be afraid, you can just add more colour. Again, step back again. Right, I want a bit more white in places. So I'm just grabbing my white. Ta-da! You could also, if you wanted to, is actually just put it on the end of your colour meshing tool. It's also a good idea if you're doing a massive wall is to wipe off the excess on here, because obviously it gets mixed on here as well. And so I'm literally just tapping with this end now. I don't know about you, but I'm really liking it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to carry on now, and then we'll come back when the wall is done. The wall is now completely dry. I wasn't sure what I thought about it until I staged some stuff in front of it, and actually it looks pretty awesome. I know that sounds really modest, but it does look awesome. All that I did that you haven't seen on camera is I dry brushed some of the sort of raised areas with the old white, so I'll show you quickly now. So literally get the smallest amount of paint on your brush. Hopefully you can see that. And then just offload it. I'm just offloading it onto a Scotch shop towel. And all you do, trying to find a bit that hasn't got too much on it, do it here. And I literally just go like that. You can go up and down. And that's all I did, just very lightly. So I've really got like hardly any pressure when I'm holding it. I'm just letting the brush do the work. And I just did that all over the wall. And that's it. All done. Hope you enjoyed it. If you do, please subscribe and click on notifications. I'll see you next time. Cheers.